If I had to rebuild my business starting at zero to my first six figures in 2026, in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly the moves I would make and what I would focus on and why so many people, so many of the clients I work with are putting the cart before the horse and making it so much more difficult to get there. The other thing I want to explore in this video is maybe some advice I would have given 5 years ago that is really obsolete now in 2026 and what you really need to focus on moving forward. Hi, welcome back to my channel. I am Jana Niksa, the Authentic Sales Coach. I work with coaches, consultants, healers, service-based entrepreneurs who want to create high-ticket offers that sell and then teach you a very simple sales process so that you can get high-ticket clients consistently. That's exactly what we're going to dive in today. If I had to start again, what I'd like to focus on first is the things I wouldn't do. And then we'll get into the things that I would do. And then I will finish it with the things that I would do differently today versus what I would have done when I built to my first six figures. First things first, what do I see when I have clients coming into my world? One of the things I hear the most is, Jana, why couldn't I have found you earlier? Why couldn't I have found you sooner? Where has your program been? The bottom line is this. A lot of people have learned the hard way over the last several years that chasing some magic bullet strategy that supposedly produces millions and millions of dollars overnight is not it. And I like to say this a lot on this channel, but if it's your first time dropping by, I will say it again. Where in life does anything work that way? Now, am I telling you you can't be wildly successful? No. Am I telling you that it is absolutely worth every bit of the effort that it takes? Yes. And then some. It's incredible, but it's not one of those things where you just pull a few magic levers and all you need to do is find the overnight success strategy and boom, all your dreams will come true. Sorry, that's just very clever, manipulative marketing and not actually going to get you there. So right now, let's focus on the things that clients come to me already having put in place that aren't really the things that they need in place to get them to their first six figures. So often clients come to me and they're trying to use a low ticket strategy to attract high ticket clients. What do you mean, Jan? What I mean is anything where there's landing pages where you're driving traffic to, you're trying to do freebies and get people on an email list, and you're hurting people all over the internet. These are quantity scaling activities and not what you need to attract the right quality buyers now to get to your first six figures. So think about it like this. If you have a 5K offer or a 10K offer, how many people do you actually need to purchase in order to have a six-figure business? 10 to 20 people, okay? So sending them to a landing page, trying to go viral, trying to get a bunch of people to download a freebie and then pull them through with email, even when you're not a copywriter and you're not good at writing emails, or maybe you're like me and you don't even like writing emails. And so why are we trying to do all this techie stuff, which is more of the low ticket stuff in the scaling activities, when really what it takes to get to your first six figures is human activities? I call it the human sales funnel. And until you understand this, and this is usually the missing piece for most people, and probably because it's not talked about a lot online, because high ticket buyers, it's all about building that relationships, connecting, and pulling through the sale in the DMs on sales calls and just really deepening that relationship. And so if I think back into my sales career, this looks like if we were given 300 leads to go and call on, I would only focus on a handful each quarter to hit my goal. Not, let me go call on 300 people this quarter and hope and pray that somebody comes through. I would be way more strategic when I looked at this list to see who are the key players, who are the people that are closer to wanting to purchase what I have to offer. Let me spend more time there. So instead of doing 30 lunches or 30 meetings with 30 different people. It's what are the 5 people that I should do 3 lunches with each month, right? What are the 5 clients that I should do dinners with each month? And so it's that slowing down to go faster and focusing your energy, because scattered energy gets scattered results. And so this is what I see people doing. They're trying to get more, quantity. I need more leads. I just need more leads. And sending them through all of this tech that they don't even know how to do, creating landing pages that aren't converting, not to mention sending out emails that people aren't opening or reading. And it's because that is all, like I said before, scaling activities and low ticket strategies, and not what it takes to get to what you need in high ticket. So hopefully you're starting to see, if we take away having to do landing pages and having to email a list and having to drive traffic with a bunch of freebies and having to go viral and having to constantly pick people off the internet and all of these things, websites, and I could go on and on and on. When you start to take all of that off your plate, the next question then becomes, well, Jana, then what do I need to focus on to my first 6 figures? And this is where I believe, and why I created the program that I have, this is where I believe the biggest gap is for people. And that is these human sales skills, like how to connect with people, how to listen, how to create things, products, aka offers that your ideal client actually wants and is willing to invest in, how to speak their language, how to speak to their wants and their needs and not what you know they need. And when we're able to do that by taking them through a simple human sales funnel process, people will buy your high ticket thing. Where people get hung up is they're spreading themselves too thin, trying to do all of these scaling activities all by themselves and wondering why their landing page isn't converting or no one's coming to it. And that's because you don't understand these fundamental pieces. Not to mention, you're probably not a professional copywriter or landing page builder, or have ever been properly taught how to drive traffic to it. And so can you see these are a lot of different moving pieces that other people are good at, that you don't have to be in order to get to your first 6 figures. So if we're only looking for 10 to 20 people per year, there's a way more effective, efficient way to connect with these people and simply lead them through the human sales funnel process. Okay. And so now let's talk more about like what we do need to have in place. And I even have clients that come to me who have even made 6 figures and they still don't have these fundamental pieces in place. And it's made it so difficult for them to get there. They have hustled their way with their 9997 product and felt like it was blood, sweat, and tears every step of the way. And that really starts with having an offer that is dialed in to convert. Meaning, not only is it validated in the market to sell, but we also make sure that it's an offer that your ideal client wants and is willing to invest in. One of the biggest gaps I see in general, especially with my healers and my mindset coaches and those limiting belief practitioners and inner child work, is they're creating offers they want to teach and not the offer their ideal client wants to buy. And when we do that, we make it talk about blood, sweat, and tears to your first 6 figures, because imagine how much easier it is to sell something that people already want. And the kicker is your modality and how you serve doesn't change. Your way of packaging it and communicating about it does. And when you can close that gap, this changes everything. Okay, so just to help you start to wrap your head around this, I want you to think about, what is the payoff, not the process. They don't care how they get there. They just want the result. What is the problem you're solving? Okay. And when we can do that and we can speak in a very tangible, specific, can I take a picture of what's happening before and what's happening after? People will invest. But a confused buyer doesn't buy. And that's where I see a lot of people falling short. They're just not sure how to communicate what they do, the transformation they provide, and they're certainly not able to articulate that value. So until you have that, you can build landing pages and do all of these different things, but at the end of the day, they're not going to buy your thing. This is why influencers are broke. So many of them, they have hundreds of thousands of followers, yet nobody's buying. It's because they don't know how to do this. And this is a skill. This is not a strategy. That's the difference. There are certain skill sets you need. And one is identifying a problem in the marketplace that you can solve, that people have said, yes, I would pay money to solve this problem, right? And you go, okay, I can solve that problem. Let me create an offer around it. Step one. Step two is understanding how to speak their language. And step 1 and 2 do go hand in hand. So it's creating the actual thing. And now we have to learn how to go out there and communicate about it. Whether it's on a YouTube channel, whether it's in your content, whether you're on a podcast, it doesn't matter. It is being able to effectively communicate. And there are certain things, certain boxes you need to check when you're communicating that will have people thinking that you are the expert, that you know more about their problem than they do, that you have a solution for them that they haven't tried, they haven't considered, and you're piquing their curiosity because you are demonstrating that you know a great deal more about their problem than they do. And when this is done with confidence, right, with certainty, with conviction, with curiosity, lots of C's here, people will lean in. This doesn't happen by accident. Just like the offer creation piece, this is also a skill that can be learned. And it is a big, big part of the sales process. Understanding how to articulate that value and help them see and gain insight into their problem and their solution and how you fit into that. That, again, doesn't happen by accident. That is a skill. And let me be clear. I see people from spiritual entrepreneurs all the way, the gamut, to all the bros and the hoes. And the ones that are successful know how to do this effectively. And the ones that are most successful know how to communicate in this way, leading people through with this curiosity and opening up gaps in their knowledge. This is what leads people through the sales process. I call it the sales overlay. And this is from beginning to end. And again, this isn't about being salesy or forcing or manipulating. This is about giving them insight, helping them understand that there's more to it than they thought, right? Which I'm sure is true for you and your ideal client, because the truth is they wouldn't need you if they knew what you know. So demonstrate that, but not from a place of technobabble and let me nerd out over my PhD in whatever it is that you do, but by speaking to their problem in a different way, helping them realize that there's another solution, a door number 3 that they haven't considered. And the last piece of this is then inviting them onto some sort of sales call, okay? Now, when you've done step 1 and step 2 the right way, and you understand the sales overlay process, and you invite them into some sort of, I like to call it a micro solution call, what you're going to see is people will book. When you give them insight into their problem they hadn't considered, and you help open up gaps around a solution that really is something they haven't tried, that really feels like the right next step for them, they will book calls. It's as simple as that. The issue is everybody just wants some magic bullet way of booking calls, appointment setters, and all of those things. And none of that really works ultimately. I don't know anyone that has hired appointment setters or done some of these other things to try to book sales calls that have worked consistently before they're hitting that first 6 figures. Why? Because we got to get in there and do the reps. Why? Because who needs to speak your ideal client's language? You do. Who needs to be on sales calls with your ideal client? You do. These are the reps, you guys. This is what makes it all go. Yes, eventually you won't have to do that. Yes, eventually, but not before you get the reps in so that you understand this, so that you can help teach someone else how to do what you're doing. Whether it's through recreating content that has them come through the human sales funnel and book a call, or through any other medium where you're sharing your message daily. And the cool thing is there's about an infinite amount of strategies that line up with these skill sets. There's so many different ways that you could bring people through this sales process, but until you have the skill sets to execute it, this is why people don't show up to the masterclass. This is why people aren't booking sales calls. This is why you're putting value content out there and nothing is happening, because you don't understand these fundamental pieces that make it go. What I tell my clients is all the different strategies that are out there are like the cars, and these 3 fundamental skill sets are the gas. So you can switch cars until you're blue in the face, but if you don't have the gas to put in it to make it go, it doesn't matter. And last but not least, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about this a little bit, and that is the sales call itself. So many people, sales is 99% an energetic exchange. It isn't about getting the words right or what if I mess up what I'm saying. And it is so much more about who you are being and how you are leading them through a decision-making process, helping them make the decision they already desire to make. And so many people have a great offer and they even know how to get people onto sales calls, but then they drop the ball when it comes to the sales call itself. And so while we are deepening skill sets, these fundamental business skill sets, there's also the energetic piece. That's why it's both the woo and the do. Sales scripts don't work for the vast majority of people because it's who you're being, how much you believe in your ability to serve and help that person, not to mention how to have conversations around money and those pieces. And so I like to think of it as learning to sell from the inside out. Now, why are these the 3 things that I would have focused on right now today to get to my first 6 figures if I had to do it all over again? Even more so in 2026 than maybe even 5 years ago. Because 5 years ago, I think you could go viral and still pull people through to a sales process. It wasn't quite as noisy out there, right? You could throw up landing pages that maybe weren't as clear as they need to be now. It was a lot more forgiving than it is today. Today, it's really all about your ability to be human and connect with other humans, because the trust is at an all-time low. And so flashy, pretty Instagram pages and lots of followers and all of that jazz has really, I think, bitten a lot of people in the butt. And so they know that there needs to be more depth associated with what you do than that. And so what I have found is anything that AI can do is probably not where you want to be spending your time. You want to be spending your time connecting with real humans and knowing how to lead those conversations, knowing how to take somebody from comments on a post into the DMs and onto a sales call. You want to know how to network with people both on and offline in a way that doesn't just end up with them saying, so great to meet you, but actually ends up with you guys taking it to that next step. Something I learned in sales decades ago is you're not always closing them on the deal, but you are always moving them through the sales process, one little step at a time. Sales is a process. And people forget that. It's not just happening on the sales call. So knowing how to take somebody from, hey, it's so great to meet you, all the way through to booking a sales call and then enrolling them. Those are all human skills. And those skill sets have been around long before social media and the internet. And so many people have slept on it. They want the easy button. They want to herd people all over the internet and hope and pray that people click the link and pay. But we're coming out of that era, and we're coming to a very human era, because people do business with people first, and that's becoming more evident in 2026 than ever before. So maybe you have been successful in the past with, the lower ticket things and just having people kind of jump through the funnel on their own, but maybe it's not working for you anymore. I find that it's a lot of the gurus are now scrambling because some of the stuff that used to work for them isn't working anymore. They're finding they actually have to get in with these clients and get to know them and actually, dare I say, get to know their business. And that's why you're seeing such a massive shift, because people are ready to be very human. They want to connect with you. They want to get to know you. They want to understand your style. And so learning how to articulate your value with confidence, with ease, naturally, learning how to own your value in your offer with that conviction and that certainty, and understanding how to take people through that process without feeling like a bother or annoying or pushy. Like, all of that is what those skills are going to make you more money in 2026 and beyond than all the landing pages in the world at this point in the game. That is my belief, and especially to your first 6 figures. So if you want to go deeper into this, if you're feeling like, Jana, you're striking something with me, this makes a lot of sense, click the link below. We have several different things that we do each and every month to bring people together, to connect during our Perfect Your Pitch party, or maybe come to one of our boot camps where we go deeper into each one of these different pieces of the human sales funnel process. But either way, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like, share, and all of the things so that more people can see how to do business moving forward is changing drastically. And I want you to be on the cutting edge. So we'll see you next time.